We're talking about a system of holding base runners on. Critical thing from run prevention standpoint. You start giving up free bases, you lose. You give up more free bases than the team you play, you're going to lose. High percentage of the time. Key elements here: stretch delivery equal to your windup delivery relative to command and stuff. One stretch move with the focus on making the pitch. And for me, I develop the stretch, especially with young players. I get them out of the stretch first and then out of the windup. One of the things that an efficient stretch move does, it cleans up arm action, especially if you're 1-2 or better to the plate. So I put the emphasis on working out of the stretch. Even though statistically, pitching out of the windup is going to prevent more runs, because getting leadoff hitters out is critical if you're going to be in a run prevention mode. But most of your other big pitches in the game are going to be made out of the stretch. 42% of big league pitches are made with a runner on base, and 40% of them are off speed. And where that becomes significant, an off speed pitch is going to be about 1/10 of a second slower to the plate. Stretch and winder mechanics as similar as possible. You take these guys, Arrieta, Price, Sonny Gray, Marcus Stroman. Most of them are in what I call a stretch wind-up position. They're off to the side here, and they'll take a rocker step back to like 9 o'clock and then come up to pitch, or they'll pitch out of the stretch from that same position. A lot of guys, once they develop their stretch move, end up pitching out of the stretch only. Then they have some advantages relative to creating timing problems for hitters, especially the guys with leg kicks that hit, and they'll just kind of roll through with no one on base. So there's certain advantages to pitching out of the stretch at all times. First move of the catcher's glove is 1-2. It allows you to focus. The most important thing you can do as a pitcher, when it's time to make a pitch, you better be ready to make a pitch and not be focused on the base runner. So I have to have all my focus. So now if I can be 1-2 to the plate and vary my holes from long to quick set, now I can control the running game without doing very much else. And the reason the industry standard is 1-3. And my experience from sitting through a lot of games over a lot of seasons, that 1-3 all of a sudden becomes 1-3-4, then it's 1-3-6, and yeah, he's 1-3, and then he throws a breaking ball and it's 1-5, and you have no chance to throw anybody out. You're not turning double plays. Guys are going from first to third. A lot of bad things happen. So I really hold that 1-2 standard. I'm going to give you that's only good is if you can load properly, it doesn't affect your velocity, it doesn't affect your command movement, and so on and so forth. That 1%, the stolen base is going to, in the pro game, now I'm sure it's different in the high school game, but that 1% of the wins are going to be based on someone stealing a base and you not being able to prevent the steal. But it helps you make more double plays. Why? Because that middle infielder's not under duress. He doesn't have that runner from first base right on top of him. So that's it, one advantage. The other thing keeps runners from going from first to third because they don't get as long as secondary, and if you got a good move, it delays their secondary lead. It helps keep runners from scoring from second base on hits and third base on contact plays and short pass balls. So for me, it's not like I have one leg with a runner on first and then I can go ahead and have a longer leg with a runner on second or a runner on third. I got two deliveries. I got a wind-up delivery and I got a 1-2 stretch delivery. But it increases your chances of getting lead runner on sacrifice bunt. To me, not that that's a critical element, because as far as run scoring is concerned, a runner on second base is less likely to score with one out than a runner on first base with no outs. But it will give you a chance to on occasion, get the lead runner. And then it shortens secondaries so that dirt ball reads become less likely. Okay. The average base runner this is as a big leaguer, professional, from first move to second base is 3.35. He runs 2.3 feet in 1/10 of a second. This is the difference between 1-2 and 1-5. Well, if you see a lead like this, do you have a chance to throw that guy out? But in essence, when you're 1-5 to the plate, that's the difference between a 12-foot lead and a 19-foot lead. Okay, here's Sonny Gray just warming up in the pen, and this is his wind-up move. Very similar to, stretch move. I think in college baseball, now I don't know how it is in high school, that when you're out of the wind-up, you got to be kind of more face to home plate than first base, but in professional baseball, guys can be kind of in that stretch wind-up move. I'm not sure what the high school rules are about. And then here is a leg lift to the plate and a load and go to the plate. Some of you might call it a slide step, but the key element here is that when that foot lands, they're in a good power position where the ball's above their elbow and their hand is inside their elbow. So just kind of matching things up. And this is important for left-handers as well as right-handers. Not that with a runner on first, we're always going to load and go out of the stretch. You know, we may leg lift, but at second base in a bunt situation or second base, we're trying to prevent that guy from scoring with on a base hit. That load and go for left-handers is good, and also it's a great change of pace for the hitter. He's used to seeing this, and then all of a sudden he gets this. Now he doesn't get his rhythm and load in. Here's Smoltzy, and just kind of seeing the wind-up and the stretch, the similarities in terms of leg lift. So very similar, and that's the thing that you want to do. You want to make sure that you marry that wind-up and stretch together in terms of mechanics. Okay, this is that stun step I was talking about. This is Peralta pitching out of the stretch, and then all of a sudden he's going to, what I call stun step, because it stuns the hitter. So there, boom, whoa, look what happened. You know, he had his routine, he was going to take his practice swing, then what happened? So that stretch only, with no one on base, this is some of the advantages. You can really destroy rhythm and timing of the hitter. I want to do a little anatomy of a stolen base. This is Carl Crawford, not playing anymore, but this guy could fly. He's probably as good a runner as we've ever seen. And he was, on this particular play, he was 3-2-3 to the plate. 3-2-3 to second base. Pitcher break time was 1:47 from first move to release. Pitcher's break time based on the runner's first step. Now this is critical. Okay, when the runner takes his first step, then we time it to the plate. And I think what you see in most, especially with premium blue chip base runners, they're not very good at reading pitchers. They rely on raw speed, so they get terrible jumps. And I'll show you in just a second what I'm talking about. Most of them don't leave till that pitcher's up to a point where his lead leg is parallel to the ground. And then 1.9 glove to glove, and the tag total was 1.17, so the total was 3.40, and you know, absolutely no chance. You would think that if you threw 1.9, you know, you'd have a pretty good, and he got a room service fastball up, makes a good throw, no chance. Okay, so if we're going to be able to be effective in this, that leg is really important. Okay, this is what I'm talking about in terms of he hasn't moved, and look where the pitcher is. Hasn't even taken a step. Now, maybe that's a weakness in our ability to coach base runners, which for me it is, but this is the reality of what's happening. Here's the physical side of the 1-2, and we're talking 1-2 on fastballs. There's a horizontal load and go, and when I say horizontal load and go, it's kind of, when I'm talking horizontal, I'm talking on this horizontal plane as opposed to on a vertical plane. So it's a horizontal, load the front side and go with the back side. It's kind of a scissors action, and I'll give you some videos on this. What we're trying to do is convert linear momentum into rotational momentum. Okay, and when I'm talking here, we're talking about the six cleat movement. We had a pitching coordinator with the Cubs, Mo Drabowski, and he coined this term. He called it a six cleat move. Now it seems like cleats have changed a lot, but we used to have 3 cleats on the front and 3 on the back. And basically what he was talking about is showing the 6 cleats of your lead foot to the hitter. So basically it's turning this knee into your back knee, but at the same time that back knee is going forward. So it's a load and go. So I'm creating power into the ground and creating power out of the ground by this loading action. Okay, and just what I was just talking about, that knee to knee action, and it's a concurrent load of the pelvis and unload. So when there's no pause in here. Okay, I want to take advantage of that loading action and that stretch, that rubber band effect through your trunk, load and go, and that gives me time to get my arm up so that my arm's up when my foot plants. That's the key for me. We're leading with the hips and creating a backside V. When I say a backside V, And what I'm talking about is this angle here is more like a V. So when I load, there's a little tilt in here, okay? And this backside V, I'm creating kind of like I have my foot really driving into the ground more, that ground effect, so that I can effectively rotate and create rotational speed, which translates up the kinetic chain and creates arm speed. And it works through the middle, down through my feet, then back up through my body. Optional preset angles, front and back or back foot. When I say preset angles, if I've got a guy that is a slow loader, as opposed to being square, I might close him up a little bit this way, so he's kind of angled a little bit more toward the right-hand hitter. Or I might take him and create an angle back in here, so I've got this loading action preloaded on the back side so that I can get into rotation with some force. And then long holes and quick sets, it both impacts the hitter and it impacts the base runner. When I say long hold, and this is, we always start out with long holes, because what we're trying to do is what? Create tension in that base runner. So I load, and they get antsy, and you'll see them start shaking. When they start shaking, if they run, they're going to have a bad jump, and usually they shut it down. So that long hold. You know, how long? Well, it depends on the umpire and the hitter and the base runner, and then occasionally running in there with a quick set. So now that quick set affects the hitter, especially if he's a leg kick loader. Okay, and you got to do it in your sides and your flat grounds. So part of your flat ground routine has to be involved with long holes and quick sets. And then hand action. There's two types of hand action. One is lift. When this leg comes up, those hands come up, and the synchronization in the top half and the bottom half is when the knees are expanding, the hands are expanding. When the knees are closing, the elbows are closing. So I want to get that synchronization. The whole idea of the lift action is to get the synchronization, or it's just breaking the seal. Like I got a seal on a ball right here, and I'm breaking the seal. There's two types of guys. Some guys are lift, and some guys are breaking the seal. Very individualized. But as I said, that synchronization. When you see them expanding lower half and they're not expanding the upper half, they're probably going to be late with their arm, and that's going to affect the quality of their pitch. Okay, this is that six cleat action I was talking about. You can see what I'm talking about, where that load, and you don't see it here, but that backside is unloading at the same time. You know, just my term. And then here's a simultaneous load and go with a scissors action of the knees. You watch this knee close, and that back knee is going at the same time. There's no pause. They're not sitting on the backside. They're not staying back. And one of the things about when you work on this and you're quick, what does it do? It forces your arm to be more efficient and quicker, and something that I didn't realize, but it really cleans up arm action. So now when they go back to the windup, now you don't have to address a lot of arm action issues. Okay, this is a horizontal load and go. The stride leg is moving to the throwing arm shoulders, the back knee is moving to the plate. So it's kind of a diagonal load to load that pelvis and unload that backside. Okay? And the head is over the rubber and the hips are leading to the plate, so you take advantage of what? That ground effect. I'm putting force into the ground to get that kinetic chain started from the ground up. And then that backside V and fairly slightly closed front side, and you see kind of narrow base. Now this guy's a little bit closed off here, and what we need to look at is that load and go. That's number one, where that knee is going towards the shoulder, and you see that backside V action and separation and expansion at the same time. Okay. Here's that kind of that toe in, front of heel on the rubber, so that I preload to create that tension on that backside, that stretch effect, that rubber band effect. So a little bit of an angle here, toe ahead of heel. And then here's breaking the seal. Well, you'll have to take my word for it. I'll tell you what you're going to see. This is Roger Clemens throwing it in between the All-Star, during the All-Star break. And what you're going to see here is kind of a breaking the seal, but he breaks it a little bit later. All right, here we go. Breaking the seal. Sorry about that. Okay? So you can see the hands are separating. He's taking out the bottom of the glove as he's loading with his leg, so he sinks up top and bottom half. Here's Clemens, kind of delays it a little bit to get himself in sync. And then here's kind of a lift action. You can see those hands are lifting when that leg's lifting to get him in sync. And you just got a video and find out what's the best technique for him breaking the seal or lift. And this is Walker throwing a bullpen, and you can see he's got a little hand lift. Why does he have a little hand lift? Got a very low leg lift, so it puts things in sync. And then here is Dallas Keuchel. Nobody runs against Keuchel because he's got a real vertical load. Everything works vertically. He kind of sinks into his delivery, and it's kind of almost an abbreviated load and go, and he's 1-1-2 to the plate. This is what we want to avoid, this head bob. And you're going to see every time, the only pitch is when the bill of the cap comes up. So if they happen to time his looks, they're going to have movement before action. And that's what we want to avoid as a pitcher, where the runner's moving before the pitcher moves. The other thing we want to avoid, now this guy's pretty quick to the plate, but look at what he does. Boom. So they key on his back pocket. As soon as they see it go down, they're gone before he started to go to the plate. Now, I'm big on breathing, but here's what happens. And we have these big shoulder up, shoulder down, and then there's a tempo. You know, shoulder up, shoulder down. I hold it for 1,001 and I pitch. So we're just giving him a chance to go action, movement before action. And then leaner. This guy, again, quick to the plate, but what does he do? Before he goes, there's this little lean. He can see those hips moving, shoulder moving. So if they've done their homework relative to watching body parts from the dugout or looking at videos, they've got a key so they don't have to wait till the guy's horizontal to the plate. And then kind of open shoulder. This is the most common one, especially with young guys. They want to see that runner. Two things. They key that front shoulder, it's easy to run. Number two, what's happening? They're divided. I'm looking at the runner and I'm trying to make a pitch. I got it. When you're making a pitch, I got to have you 100% committed to making a pitch. And then here's a pick to first base, and you can see what's happening. The ball's coming down out of his glove, real long arm. This is slow. Ball's got to come up out of the glove. And one of the things that we have to stop is these momentum leads. He's got movement over there. Boom, no chance. And that's kind of a modified pitch out and still steals the base. This is long hold and pitch. This is kind of what our long hold action looks like. 1-2-1 to the plate, creating tension in that base runner. And then here's kind of a quick set. Okay, quick set, boom. And catcher even double clutched and still threw the base runner out because he didn't have a good jump, but he ran anyway. Here's some thoughts on picks. Number one, I want to reduce the number of, we pick too much to first base. We put too much information in their computer. Plus, it slows the tempo of the game down, and it destroys our ability to focus on making pitches. When I go to first base, I always go over there with my A move. For me, and I'm just giving you my opinion. Because when I throw over there, I think he's running and I'm trying to pick him off. I'm not going over there and flipping the ball over there and bad. I'm not a big bad, better, best guy. When I go over there, you're going to be out. That's what otherwise I'm not going to throw over there unless I'm trying to find out if you're bunting. Use your shake off on occasion. If I'm picking at first base and I shake off first, a lot of time what it does is, as a base runner and I'm stealing, oh well, he's not picking, he's shaking off location or pitch. So now I've become a little bit more confident and I'm less aware, I'm less ready to return on a pick. And then ball up out of the glove, separate first and start with the ball in your hand. I like to start with the ball in your hand. Because then if something happens, I'm ready to pick. Or I can pick looking in for signals. You have to do ball security work if you do that. But when I say picking with the ball up out of the glove, I'm going to separate first, up, right there. So it's a short up out of the glove. It's not long and back up. So it's a short arm pick. And then follow your pick to reduce balks. When I say follow your pick, if I'm following that pick. There's no chance if I jog after that pick that they're going to call a balk because you are going to have a balk move. Okay, and then the other thing is when I follow my pick, sometimes when I get the ball back and I go back towards the mound, and this guy jumps off and they get dropped glove at third base, and I'll show you that. I've got a video of it. We can pick him on phase 2. And then narrow base, narrow turn radius, gain ground with both feet. When I say narrow base, I'm talking narrow base, and your narrow turn radius, because that's the quickest. And then you have to pick on your own, not just when the coach gives you the pick, because they may have your pick signal. So you have to, and a lot of times, Maddox did it all the time. He'd go here, he'd look at the runner, and he'd close up, and he'd make a decision. If that guy gave him steel body language, he could pick on his own. So I encourage guys to do that. I don't want them so robotic that they have a chance to pick a guy off and they don't, because we didn't have the pick on. Close play, adjust on the rubber. What I'm saying is this. I'm picking the first, say I'm a right-hander, I work off the third base side of the rubber. A move, ooh, it's close. Now I'm going to move over just subtly back where I gain 18 inches on the rubber, maybe pick again and see what happens. Infielders, eyes in the dugout, and on catcher signals, as your infielders need to know when there's a pick on, so the shortstop's not late covering in case we pick that guy off, so everybody's ready to move. This is, throw strikes. This is an obvious one. If you throw strike one, what is it? When do most people run? When the pitcher's behind on the count. Okay? And when I throw strike one, it does what? It brings the pitch out into play. So now we plant the pitch out in the back of that coach's mind, and all of a sudden he gets starting to second guess himself. And catcher's picks, pitch outs, modified pitch outs, we'll talk about that a little bit. And if I'm a catcher, if the guy has a great jump, I want my catcher to throw, and I want him to make it a close play if he can. Even though you know the guy's going to be safe. Because what happens? The next time he gets on first base, what's his thinking? Boy, I had a great jump last time. I was safe, but it was close, so now what is he trying to do? Get a better jump, a perfect jump. So what happens? I buy a couple pitches. What happens in the interim? Ground ball, double play. Defending the movement before action, steal at first base only. And then accurate picks into the tag zone. Okay, that's critical. So that A move, and depending upon where the first baseman is playing. Now in professional baseball, we don't hold runners on the base with the first baseman. We have our first baseman up in front of the runner and off the line, and they're taking their picks here because they're in a position A to protect the 4-hole. Most balls are hit to their right, and plus if it's a wide throw, they don't have the runner in between them and the pick. So they're up in front, they're off the line, and then also they're making tags, not on the guy's hand at the base, but on the guy's hip before he gets to the base. And with instant replay, we're getting more outs tagging on the hip up the line than tagging on the hand on the base, where it's kind of a bang-bang play. This is a little drill I really like. For that short turn radius, get yourself a hula hoop, or just draw a circle. Now here's a little quick feet drill in that hula hoop. This is Julio Teheran. This is a .83 pick. The better guys are right around the .80, .79, Johnny Cueto. But if you watch this thing very closely, watch his lead knee. What happened to his lead knee? Little buckle, pick. This big leagues. They got 4 umpires out there. These are professional umpires. And they look at the videos. Yeah, it's a pick, but it's a block. But if I don't see it, I'm not calling it. Because everybody knows that Cueto, Teheran, they're going to balk and they're going to pick. But you see really short, really quick, that little knee buckle. And pick on the way up or down. Here's Verlander, and you see the base runner, watch him move his feet towards second. See his foot moving towards second? So he's picking on the way up while the guy is moving, because most guys will get their leads late. That is why, for me, I have a separate signal for long hold pick on the way up or down, pick looking in for a signal, or balk move. So that I know, when I see this guy with a late lead, I know our best pick is going to be on the way up or on the way down. So I go flick 2, as opposed to just throw over. So I'm going to delineate what the throw over is going to be. So while I'm looking at that runner, I see what type of secondary leads he takes. I can have the appropriate pick. And then here's a pick looking in for signals. We got DJ out there, and he's really a good base runner. And again, pitcher's got the ball where? In his hand. This allows him to do this. So what is DJ doing? figuring out his batting average? I don't think so. You know what he's doing? He's looking in, he's divided. He's trying to find a breaking ball to run on. So he's a little bit divided there, becomes more vulnerable to be picked. And this is a long hold and a quick pick. Charlie Blackman, young Harris guy. And long hold, Charlie gets a little antsy. And you can see he flinched. Great swim move going back into first base. But the long hold, what did it do? It cemented him into the ground, created some tension. He kind of ran out of time, and now I got to run. And he flinched, and the guy picked, and should have been out. High set, you see where the ball comes out of his glove. It doesn't drop down out of the bottom of the glove, comes out of the top of the glove. And here's that high set again, real short arm action, .83. You can see how high he is. And he's not flipping the ball over there. He's airing it out. Okay, real short arm, quick feet. And if you look very closely, just watch his lower half. Watch Cueto's left knee. See that little buckle there? Okay, and you see how quick he is? One thing, probably in the amateur game, you better follow that pick so you don't get a balk called, where you're gaining ground. And this is John Gray, and he's a low set. And, this is a big man right here with a quick turn radius and really short turn radius. And here's an open to close. And this Turan again reading body language. Feels like he reads something there. Because what Charlie did here, it was kind of interesting. Okay, and if you watch it, I'll show you what he did here. He starts out, the cut is like 13 feet. So he's on the other side of the cut. Well, actually, that's not the one. But at any rate, this is we're seeing this a lot. Guys trying to get moving leads, and we don't have the I guess the sound is not on here. But the first baseman is just giving this guy a verbal, or you can even use it. Oh, there we go. Catch your glove. We just kind of use an egg. And so the guy's got a moving lead. He should pick. He's concentrating on the plate. That guy's getting a moving lead. We have him picked, and everybody, step off. Well, I want to pick this guy off here. This is not one of those step off where the guy breaks. This is one of those where the guy gets into no man's land, where he extends himself out so far. If you have a little verbal with your first baseman, an egg, or whatever it happens to be, then, and they react faster to verbal commands, by the way. Okay, and here's that rubber adjustment I was talking about. You can see he's moved over more towards the first base side. And here's kind of the phase 2 pick I'm talking about. Pick, he goes and gets the ball. Now he comes back, and we got this guy's a little feisty at first base. He starts walking off, not even thinking about pick or anything else. And now you got a phase 2 pick. Okay, especially if the guy's an in-your-face guy gets back, no chance you're going. Oh man, the guy's walking back. He's got the ball up there. Boom, we got him on phase 2. Okay. Here's one for me that as a pitcher you got to be aware of. I pick to first base, and the batter stays in the batter's box. When I pick to first base, I get the ball back from that first baseman as close to rubber as I can. If the guy's in the batter's box, boom, I'm ready to pitch right now, because now I got this guy right there. Base hit, he can't go to third base. Ground ball, double play ball. He's not on top of my middle infielders. Okay. Now you can see right here where Belt is. He's up off the base. He's not cornering the base. And inside, and you can see where this tag is going to make. He lets the ball travel, and with instant replay, he's out. He was called safe. But the value of the first baseman being up off the base and up the line a little bit, tremendous, especially on wide throws, because he doesn't have the base runner in his line, and he can always step back in there. And here's some combinations that we talk about as far as pick and pitch combinations, where we mix long hold pitch, and I go long hold, pitch. Then the next one I go quick set pitch. Now that base runner's what? We got him conditioned to that long hold, he wants to run, and now all of a sudden he shuts it down, we get a ground ball, double play, inning over. Long hold, pick, and then quick set pitch. So I go long hold, pick, boom, get the ball back, boom, quick set and pitch. So I'm just changing the tempo and the rhythm. Long hold, step off, and quick set pitch. Let me just say one thing about step off. You know, what a lot of guys do, they step off and they do something like this. When I step off, I want to get a reaction out of the runner. When I take the ball up out of the glove and turn, that base runner knows I'm not pitching because he's used to seeing the ball come down on the glove. So for me, when I long hold and step off, it's here. Quick, there, and now I can always pivot. If the guy goes, I'm still in a position. I'm not going to pick him off with a step off, most likely. Then quick set pitch, long hold pick, long hold till time, and then quick set pitch. A lot of times, you know, we'll mix in long hold and pitch before time. Where I see, you know, because a lot of hitters, they do what? They're going to call timeout, and they do this. They take their hand off the bat, or they start to turn and call timeout. So I just hold the ball just as the guy's turning, or he's taking his hand off the bat. Boom, I throw a four-seam fastball right over the middle of the plate, waist high, and it's by him. Quick set pitch, or pick on your way up and down, and then long hold till time, and then quick set and pick. So there's all kinds of variations. Catcher's picks, really important in controlling secondary leads. Here we got Yachty, predetermined. And you can see where Pujols is in terms of making that tag where he's kind of up the line and off the base with his glove next to the base to make in the tag zone. Pitch outs and modified pitch outs. I like to pitch out even if they're not running because it plants the seed in the manager or coach's mind. And a lot of times when the head coach is coaching third base in high school in Alabama, most coaches coach third base, I would assume. Okay, so now I'm in that coaching box and I'm trying to make decisions, and then all of a sudden I flipped in a couple pitch outs, and now, well, let's run. Well, you might pitch out, and then all of a sudden, go ahead. So a lot of times with that decision making, I can affect their decision making and control the game with pitch outs. Want a four-seam fastball? We want to shake off before the pitch out. This is pretty routine for us. We'll shake off. Why? Want to shake off that runner? Hey, pitch or change location. So now pitch out, there solidifies their decision making in terms of running on this pitch. And then regular leg with comfortable 2-count hold. What a lot of kids do, they'll go real fast or they'll real severe slide step, and then the runner doesn't get a good jump and he doesn't run. We want to make sure he runs. No picks or 2 picks on a pitch out. If I'm pitching out, I don't want to pick, and if I pick once, I want to pick twice because nobody picks 3 times. So that again re-engages them into stealing the base. If they flinch on the first pick or step off, do they repeat the signal giving process? What I mean, I pick to first base. Does the coach go back through the signal giving process again? If I pick and the guy shows me a flinch or something, then I'm going to go back and maybe pick again. If the guy wipes it off or something like that, then that changes things. Double up pitch outs when you can. Pick after pitch out if you're not doubling up. I like to get, especially with a command pitcher, a guy who can throw strike one. I got a blue chip runner. I know he's running. I pitch out 0-1. I know he's not going to run. But then I pitch out, double it up and pitch out because I know most guys, when they see one pitch out, well, he's not going to pitch out again. And then again, I'll do that sometimes early in the count because I want to bait that guy into stealing. I call it inducing labor. You need to know if they allow runners to run on their own and who. Modified pitch outs. And basically a modified pitch out, and that's what we're seeing more than anything else in professional baseball. The catchers are setting up and out and just getting an elevated fastball because pitchers are better throwing into a target space than a vacant space. And also, if you have their signals, they won't change them. If you pitch out, they will. And a hit and run, some teams read pitch outs and don't swing, and the base runner chokes it off. So now with the modified pitch out, they don't read the pitch out. Here's a modified pitch out. Okay, just up and out fastball. Stopping the delay. Keep your catcher from going to his knees, returning the ball to pitcher before picking up the runner. Catcher tracking the ball to his glove by moving his head to the glove and eyes, and your eyes, as soon as you catch it, immediately go to the runner. You don't need the first baseman or anybody else to tell you, you're anticipating steal all the time. You excessively let the ball sit. And then heightened awareness, left-hand hitter, usually non-base stealer, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Middle infielder moving to the base after the ball passes the hitter. That's very important. Whether the guy's running or not, the ball's by the hitter. He has to go. Limit drop, knee receiving, and a 1-2 leg, and designated delay guy in the dugout. Guys, remember that. You guys understand this? Okay. And these are the guys that have helped me on this. The 2 JC baseball programs allow me to video some stuff, and also our video guys. I have time for maybe one question, if you got a question. Again, if you want this, email me today, and I'll send it to you when I get home, or maybe if I have time in the airport. Good luck this season. Thank you.